Well, if you have used Siri in the last decade, and let's be honest, that's pretty much all of us at this point, you might be owed some money. Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to settle a class action lawsuit that claims Siri secretly recorded users without their consent. The case covers Siri-enabled devices like iPhones, iPads, and Apple Watches bought between September 2014 and December 2024. So we're talking about a 10-year span here. Eligible users can file a claim for up to 5 devices and could get up to $20 per device. The deadline to file is July 2nd. Apple, though, denies any wrongdoing. Joining me this morning with more details on this settlement is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning. I don't know how many people say, I think my phone is listening to me. This is actually true, though, in some cases now.
Oh, it's totally true. And I mean, of course, Apple denies it, and they entered this settlement, and they didn't say that they're liable for anything. But yeah, this is something that I think probably most Apple users have experienced. You start talking about a particular topic, and then you start getting ads for that on your phone or on your feed. You start getting more things around that subject matter. And so, and we were talking, that certainly has happened with me.
Yeah,
and
same here.
Yeah, and the allegation is that in this lawsuit is that Apple Siri was recording it without it being activated, and then they were giving that to third parties. And so anyway, we entered into this settlement agreement, which, as you mentioned in the lead-in, somebody has until July 2nd to file, but the judge has to approve it, so there'll be another hearing in August.
How does somebody know if they're part of this? Can anybody file for this?
Yeah, it's a good question. And yes, anybody can file. Now, some people did get notice in the mail with a claim number, but even if you didn't get a notice, you can go to the website and start your new claim.
Right.
And it's up to 5 devices. You can get, it depends on how many people file their claims, but you can get up to $20 per device with a maximum of $100.
So we know that Apple's giving up a lot of money in this settlement. What are both sides essentially, though, giving up for the settlement?
Right. Yeah, so on this settlement, really and this is how settlements work, right? You know, people are looking at the cost of defense, going to a jury. They don't know what's going to happen. So the defendant in this case, Apple, said, well, we're not admitting liability, but we don't want to go through the process of a jury trial and not being sure how much we're going to get hit with, the attorney fees. So they pay $95 million. And in exchange, this class action, if you choose to stay in the class, then decides, okay, we're going to drop the lawsuit. So the benefit to Apple is that they're now not going to be sued. They don't have to look over their shoulder, kind of thing.
Apple is certainly not the only tech company that has a feature like this. Yes. I'm thinking about, Amazon's Alexa. You're thinking about Google Home, things like that. Is this going to send a message to other companies like Apple as far as kind of recording those conversations?
Man, I think that's a great question, and I think the answer is they'll notice. But I've become a little bit skeptical in my older age, because in this capitalist system, it's just so much money driven, and competition is so aggressive that people will continue to, and corporations, we have this corporatocracy, are trying to do whatever they can until they get caught. And I'm always talking about how the law kind of lags behind corporate action, right? It was like MCI WorldCom led to Sarbanes-Oxley, just all these particular statutes that came into action after the company did something. So right now, I mean, are other companies going to maybe change their behavior? I don't know, until they actually get caught and get hit with some kind of, usually a financial penalty. Everything stays the same. But the benefit here is that you do have the people power, the class action, where the people came together and said, no, we're gonna push back.
And I want to mention too, because I'm pretty sure the judge doesn't actually have to accept the settlement. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
What happens if the judge doesn't?
So if the judge doesn't, then the parties will likely continue to have settlement discussions, but the case will still be on track to go forward. And the judge is going to make that decision based on, was it fair, adequate, and cover all the class. And so the judge might say, no, this isn't sufficient. And I suspect even if that happened, they would continue settlement discussions, and there would be a settlement at some point, because Apple doesn't want any part of this lawsuit.
Okay, interesting. Well, there we go. I also, by the way, think it's always nice to have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yes, good. Okay.
About everything. I'm with you on that one. Whitney, thank you for coming, and we appreciate it.
Yep. Good.